Okay, good morning. Fresh ice water. All right, so this is a special edition of Upon Further Review, and it's appropriate because upon further review, I discovered some things that are very interesting. And so this will only be maybe 10 minutes if I can keep it short and sweet, because I'm putting together like a 4-part series on the greatest crime in the century, and that, of course, was the 2020 election theft, which concluded with January 6th. Now, to give you an idea of what January 6th was, let's say you and 6 friends decide you want to go in and rob a bank. So you do all the planning of which bank to go after, who's got the most money, how is it secured, where are the people that are going to guard it and everything. And then you go in to steal, and then you have to come out, and then you have the getaway. And then the getaway has to be perfect. Otherwise, if you get caught, you're in jail for the rest of your life, which is going to happen to the January 6 people once Donald Trump gets back in the White House, and they know it. And the reason why they know it is because there's people like me out there that aren't going to stop till they're put away and they're punished for their crimes. It's our country too. For those of us who were born in this country, and for those that have come here legally and are now Americans and have fought in wars and fought in the military and have served in the police, we deserve to have freedom, prosperity, and an honest set of rules that government can follow and does. So the first thing I'm going to introduce is a Freudian slip. Senator Schumer commits a Freudian slip. Now, what happens is this. The Democrats have committed the crime of stealing the election. But they know that the election is not going to occur the way they wanted to unless they get away with it. And to get away with it, they've just got one more thing to do. And that is to have the joint session of Congress on January 6, 2021, where the electors get passed and approved by Congress, and then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the new criminals in the White House that did not win the election, but were scammed into the election. So this whole deal is set up by Nancy Pelosi. She is in charge. She. Pronoun test. She, her, she, her, she, her. He, his, he, his, he, his. So let's jump to Senator Schumer's Freudian slip. A Freudian slip is an unintentional error in speech, memory, or action that's thought to be caused by unconscious desires or thoughts. All right. We're pulling this out. There's 5 things that we're going to pull. I think about 5 things we're going to pull out of this video that was produced by San Francisco bitch Pelosi organization, broadcasting, whatever. Okay. Lights, camera, action! I'm sorry. Lights, camera, action! Okay, so before we get to Mr. Schumer's slip, let's just say, wait a minute. Why is Nancy Pelosi's daughter coming to videotape this day in the White House? Why is this different than any other January 6th scenario? What's going to happen? Why does Nancy Pelosi want a record of what's going on? Why is that the case? Is it because she wants to make sure that everything that happens is documented, that shows her as the lead actress, lead criminal Because let me tell you something, Nancy Pelosi is never going to be an actress. She does some things that you know are so fake, it's amazing. So we've got this video. I'm going through it as part of this presentation I'm doing. And I noticed a couple of things that really hit you, which we're going to talk about. But the first one is the unintentional error in speech, memory, or action that's thought to be caused by unconscious desires or thoughts by Senator Schumer.
Please answer my question. Answer my question.
Senator, I'm going to do everything I can do.
Does that include asking the president to get these people who are followers of hers to leave the Capitol?
Okay, Chuck. What did you say, Chuck? What did you say, Chuck? Huh? Here's what Chuck said. I had to play this over 3-4 times just to make sure I heard what he was saying. His, hers. His, hers. Chuck Schumer, the camera's on you, Chuck. Let us have it. Come on, you're sitting there and you're having this video of you yelling at somebody, trying to find out who denied the 10,000 guard that was requested by Donald Trump. But we're not going to say it was requested by Donald Trump. That's a secret. And the January 6th committee is going to purposely hide all the data on that because they're co-conspirator criminals. Everyone on the January 6th committee should be in jail right now, not the people that were attending the rally for Trump. Okay? So the camera's on Chuck. And Chuck says, get the president to include that the president wants to get people who are followers of her to leave the Capitol. Now let's see. The president we know is a man. We know the president is Donald Trump. So why would Schumer say asking the president to get people who are followers of her to leave the Capitol? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Chuck, are you trying to tell us something we're not supposed to know? Chuck, did you commit the largest Freudian slip in American history with regard to treason? Who is her? Include asking the president, they're talking to someone, goes, yeah, get the president, have him include asking the president to get people who are followers of her to leave the Capitol. The president's a male, it would be his followers, wouldn't it, Chuck? His followers? Qu'est-ce que c'est her? What kind of must go? Her? Chuck, who the hell is her? Who are the people you want to leave the Capitol that follow her? Oh boy, Chuck, you're going to have some explaining to do when anybody else hears this video. Chuck Schumer, co-conspirator. He lets the cat out of the bag. Followers of her. And it's supposed to be Trump followers. Okay, that's one. Just check this off. Okay, let's do Vice President Pence. Vice President is a guest GOP conspirator. Okay, he is not a Democrat. He's a global scumbag, Republican, elitist pig, neocon, like Bush and all the other Republicans that have endorsed Kamala Harris. Now, Mr. Pence is in charge of making sure that the January 6th assorted conglomeration of senators and congressmen get what they're supposed to do done, which is to finalize the general election. However, There are six filed complaints against this election that have to be discussed and reviewed in privacy in separate separate sessions of congressmen and senators to discuss what the deal is and then to decide if those electors are going to get thrown out. There were 6 of them, and all 6 complaints had senators signed off on it, not like 4 years ago when the Democrats tried to pull this shit without any senators signing off on it. Right, Jamie Raskin? You royal piece of shit. How can we tell that Pence is part of the deal? Okay, let's see. We're making a movie, and the movie's got 4 stars in it. And one is the lead criminal, Pelosi. There's the co-conspirator criminal, Schumer. Then there's the guest GOP conspirator, McConnell. And the guest GOP conspirator, Pence. So if they're all involved, how do we know? How do we know they're all involved? Because they have a speaking part in this video. Someone who's not involved is not going to get any credit for speaking out because they have nothing phony to say. And what is Pence's secret words to speak? When they decide to come back. When they decide to come back and put the whole thing together, the camera's right on Pence, and Pence says, "Let's get back to work." Oh, really? Okay.
Let's get back to work.
So Pence is a treasonous criminal and should face the electric chair with Pelosi and Schumer and McConnell. McConnell's in the video as well. He's telling him, you gotta get some. Nobody wanted any National Guard there except Trump. That's why they had to hide the fact, the January 6th committee had to hide the fact that Trump asked for it. And then, of course, it came out later, so everyone, oh, okay, so, never mind. Remember, forget the clues, forget the truth, just leave it alone and let it go. But I'm not. And I'm not the only person that's not letting this shit go. So we have the 4 people involved. And we have Nancy Pelosi. And the interesting part is, so Nancy Pelosi's daughter is videotaping all this. She was invited to come to the Capitol for, I guess, a special situation that was going to occur that only Miss Pelosi knew about. But CNN was given the exclusive. CNN was given the exclusive right to video this show and show it. And of course, at this one point where they're in this other room on some military base or something trying to protect themselves from a phony insurrection, CNN exclusive. Now, why would CNN be the only media company to be allowed to put this Nancy Pelosi story together? Is it because CNN is not a news organization, but the wing of the Democratic Chinese Manchurian Mexican cartel gang that runs this country into the toilet? So they're saying, oh, let's continue the proceedings at the military base, but they had no intention of doing that. They had to finish it up at the House. They had to finish it up at the Capitol Hill. And of course, in the video that she's filming, CNN happens to be on the TV. So they're sitting in this room watching CNN, and then of course CNN comes to do the video. And then of course CNN, their reporters then talk about what they've seen, and she brings out the fact that there's a video, there's a telephone conversation between Pelosi and Pence, and she's so concerned that Pence could get killed or hurt in the fake riots.
It's never before seen footage.
Yes, ma'am.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi shown fleeing the U.S. Capitol as it was under attack on January 6th. The videos captured by her daughter, Alexandra Pelosi, a documentary filmmaker.
We have got to finish the proceedings or else it will become tricky.
She provided some of her footage to the January 6th Select Committee, who played clips in their hearing Thursday. But in the roughly hour of additional footage obtained exclusively by CNN, we see lawmakers transforming Fort McNair, a military base 2 miles away, into a command center to communicate with Vice President Mike Pence and others, even considering reconvening the congressional proceedings at the military base.
We're being told it could take days to clear the Capitol and that we should be moving everyone here to get the job done. We're at which has facilities for the House and the Senate to meet. I worry about you being in that Capitol room. Don't let anybody know where you are.
I'd like to know a good goddamn reason why it's been denied.
Then Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer shouting at Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy after hearing a rumor Trump blocked the National Guard going to the Capitol.
Please move. The whole Capitol is rampage. There's a picture of someone sitting in this chair of the Senate. We've all been evacuated. There's been shots fired. We need a full National Guard component now. She said it was not denied. I'm going to call up the effing Secretary of DOD.
When he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my mom. I would pay to see that. I've been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, some pretty incredible stuff there. But Alex, one thing that really stuck out to me, and it was this moment where Pelosi is talking to Pence and she sounds genuinely concerned about him. She's asking about the vice president's well-being. This is after a very contentious relationship with the Trump administration. Meanwhile, we know at the exact same time that this riot was unfolding, as she's sitting there asking, are you okay? Make sure that you're safe. That
partisanship aside, really just wanting to get on with the business of the day. I mean, Kristen, no matter how many times I see that Pelosi clip, it's incredible to hear her talking about punching the President of the United States, who she blamed directly, of course, for the events of that day. Kristen Holmes, thank you so much for that report. Appreciate it.
She knows he's not going to get hurt because it's not her people causing the riot. It's not Trump's people causing the riots. It's her people causing the riots. And her people include 200 FBI agents that are making sure that they control shit. There's more video. Matter of fact, the video just came out about this overweight, 6'7" black police officer who evidently is a clown, and he lost his job at the circus, and they made him, I guess under DEI or something, he got to be in the police. And so he writes this book, and he talks about, he was here, and he didn't do a damn thing. Matter of fact, there was a show, they showed the videos of where he said he was, when he was supposed to be. It was all a lie. This guy earned himself the Democrat Award honor. Just like those two women in Fulton County who were on television committing election fraud, and then they were given medals by Biden because he was awarding them for committing election fraud. And then they went after Rudy because they said Rudy defamed them for saying they committed election fraud. I don't know how, because there was evidence that clearly showed they were committing election fraud. The problem that this country has is we don't have a media. We don't have an honest media. And so shit like this gets thrown out. And then they don't notice shit, or they don't want to notice shit. Nobody really looks at this stuff to try to expose the truth. The truth is important. We as a nation can't survive without the truth. We're a constitutional republic. We have laws. We have a constitution that's the basis for those laws. We can't let this shit continue. If Donald Trump does not win this election, and I'm afraid now that the Iranians are really moving hard on trying to get rid of him, my only hope is that Benjamin Netanyahu sent some Mossad people over. We don't know where they are, but if they're where they're supposed to be, then we'll be okay. But there's going to be an attack on Trump. Okay, they're running out of time. It's like 25 days left. Okay. I'm going to guess that they'll probably attack him in Los Angeles because I think it's going to be an outdoor thing. And of course, Los Angeles is a communist country, part of a communist country called California. And that's probably where they're wait to get him. Hopefully I'm wrong. Pelosi, before the attack, when did they become rioters? The newswoman saying rioters making their way to the Capitol.
You can see them marching up.
And the rioters making their way towards the Capitol.
Secret Service said.
Wait a minute. If they're making their way to the Capitol, they're not at the Capitol, are they? So who are they when they're on their way to the Capitol? They're Trump supporters. They were listening to Trump's speech. And they're walking their way peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol. They have no intention of rioting. Why are you calling them rioters, CNN? Rioters making their way to the Capitol. That's a lie. That's defamation of character. Calling honest people rioters. Pelosi at one point freaks out on the camera. You'll see, because she kind of goes, it must have been too much for her, because she is a pea brain. She is a pea brain. These videos, which I'm incorporating, you're going to see these segments in this video. They're going to be also included in the larger video I'm doing that's going to come in, I think, 4 parts. Because I've gone through this whole election fraud, how they did it, everything, and I'm going to cover all that and put it into segments so everybody can really see what the hell happened. Okay? Now, the only problem is that a lot of the stuff that was presented to the January 6th committee, they illegally destroyed evidence, but nothing's happening to them. Why? How come when Democrats commit crimes, nothing happens to them? Isn't that interesting? Huh? How can 325,000 children be disappearing? You'd think that maybe some organization in the government would say, hey, we got to look into this. What are you up to, Kamala? What are you and your Mexican cartel and your Chinese Mandarin buddies doing to our country? Our country is at war. We're at war with the Chinese Manchurians, the Mexican cartels, and the Democratic Party. Plain and simple. And they committed to steal an election, but in order to finish it off, after all the shit they pulled, which the other shows talk about, they had to get January 6th right. And the only way they could get January 6th right was to make sure it didn't happen. And that was the purpose for 200 FBI agents causing a commotion and hiring some 3 or 4 busloads of Antifa people to come down and cause issues. How many Antifa people were arrested? Huh? Did the FBI arrest their own people that committed the riot, or did they just find people that were innocent and put them in jail? And then have Democrat judges in Washington, D.C. find them guilty of a crime that doesn't apply at all. The Supreme Court acknowledged that, but they're still sitting in jail. They haven't been released. So I think it's safe to say that as long as the January 6th people are in jail, we don't have a country. And the District of Columbia is not really part of the United States. It's its own governmental international entity of scum. And that has to get cleaned out. It's got to get cleaned out. Because in my 20 some odd years in pro se law, I always knew that if I was going to say something in court, I always had to have the evidence. Here it is. This is what happened, and here's the proof. There. Got a problem with it? Shove it up your ass. And that, my friends, is the name of the game. Shove it up their ass. I love you.